Hey everybody, Shane Presley here with Rock Paper Podcast. Hey, come on out Saturday night, June 22nd. We'll be at Broadway Oyster Bar celebrating 5 years of Rock Paper Podcast. Really hope you can make it out. It's going to be an incredible night. We have live music from Amanda Fish Band, Tony Campanella Band, and Odds Lane. We'll have live art all evening with Jessica Hitchcock. We'll have great, delicious food from Broadway Oyster Bar and cold drinks all night. So come on by. It's $8 cover for the show. Music starts about 10 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you all there. Also, let me tell you about my friends at Naked Vine. I will be out there on July 9th for my next singer-songwriter storytelling showcase featuring Jesse McClary and Zach Anderson of Old Capitol Square Dance Club, along with David Manis of the Manis Brothers. That's, again, July 9th. It's a $10 cover for that show, 7 o'clock start. If you haven't been out there to Naked Vine, you need to go check it out. It's a great spot out in Chesterfield, Missouri, featuring live music throughout the week and all your favorite wine, whiskey, tequila, and local craft beers. Swing by and visit them on Wednesday, June 19th, as David Terry takes the stage. On Thursday, June 20th, two of my good friends, Sean Allen Cannon and Phil Wright. And on Friday, June 21st, John Bonham and Friends. And on Saturday, June 22nd, the Scandaleros. You can find all this information and more at nakedvine.net. Be sure to follow along with them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, I want to tell you about my friends over at Joseph Meyer Club. Go visit josephmeyerclub.com today and pick up a bottle of their brand new foaming aftershave. If you use my code RPPJMC20 at checkout, you can receive an exclusive 20% off. Again, RPPJMC20 during checkout at josephmeyerclub.com. And be sure to follow along with them also on Facebook for more information. Again, I've said it a bunch, but thank you everybody for 5 years. This is pretty wild. Again, I hope you make it out to the party on the 22nd. And thanks for listening. Enjoy the show.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hi, this is Adam Donald with the St. Louis Americana Festival, and you are listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today at Blue Lotus Recording Studio with Tim Lloyd. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. This is like a huge deal for me. I love your show.
Well,
when am I number? Like number 55,000? Episode 55,000 or 56,000?
I think it's 56,000.
56,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
It's been a busy week, so
Yeah.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be here because this is exactly why I love doing this show.
Yeah.
One, this is our first time meeting.
Yes, true.
We've been hanging out for a little bit here today, but we just met a couple minutes ago, and so this is kind of the beauty of this show that I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm still continuing to discover.
You got 56,000 episodes under your belt.
I mean, that's like just this year.
Yeah.
So this is, but getting to meet people, still getting to continue to discover great new St. Louis music.
Cool.
And we have a brand new record to talk about, is why we're here. And this is and for me, like, we've been talking online a little bit.
Yeah.
You leaked me a copy of this record. And
You make it sound so illicit when you say leaked it.
well, or it,
I'm just kidding with you.
and but I listened to this record and just like, where has this been at? Like, it was like, it totally blew my mind that like, it was just it sounds fantastic and the writing's great. And, but I was just like, where did this guy come from? So this is what's cool. I get to sit down and actually talk to you and get to know more about you.
I feel the same way about making music. I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it? Like you write songs late at night, and then you hopefully find some people to play them with you, and then you make recordings of them, and then you connect with people. It's awesome.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much doing about the same thing with this show. Just
totally.
Throw them out there, and hopefully they connect with somebody.
Yeah.
So, we are hanging out here at Blue Lotus. I want to say shout out to Paul Niehaus and everything he does here, letting us hang out. And we did some live jam, so that will be coming out too. So keep an eye out for all that. But anyway, let's get into this though. This is we are here to talk about Tim and Western States now, which the big reveal, debut, all of it's coming very soon. July 20th at Off Broadway.
Yeah.
Big album release party, debut of the band, and all this. So get your tickets today, offbroadwaystl.com, I believe. And but you're going to have Western States, Funky Butt Brass Band, and Cree Rider Band.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one wild party.
Yeah, I feel like, if you walk through that door and you lay down, your hard-earned money, one thing is for sure, like, you're going to see some pretty hot players on that stage. Wouldn't you agree with?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's those Funky Butt is just ridiculous. Cree Rider is like a local legend, and us fools are going to be on stage too. So,
I mean, like,
it'll be a good time, don't you think? Yeah, I think.
When I saw that, I'm like, that's going to be a party because, I mean, bunch of my favorites, obviously a bunch of my buddies. It's going to be a big, family reunion type of thing. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be totally cool.
Yeah. So grab tickets, come out and join the fun. And Off Broadway is one of my favorite rooms.
I think it's for me, and we can talk more about it if you want to. But I played in a band that played around the Midwest, all over the place, every little town and big town you can think of, and that's like the best rock and roll bar.
Yeah,
I think it's a great rock and roll bar.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and great staff runs it.
Yes,
and it's
totally.
Yeah, really top notch over there at Off Broadway. One of my favorite rooms for sure. So, but anyway, let's. Like I said, I wanted to kind of get to know more about Tim first.
Yeah.
And I kind of got a little bit of history through Joe Winsey on the show the other day, and he was kind of giving me a brief overview about it. But
sure.
I figure I get the story direct from the man himself.
I don't know if it's really that interesting of a story, but in terms of music, this is kind of how this band, I'll kind of start back at the start, how I met Sean Cannon, who plays in this band. And of course, like, if you know anything about St. Louis music and live music, then you know who Sean Cannon is. He's, of course, the man behind the Voodoo Players and that whole, like, empire of awesomeness that he has single-handedly created. At any rate, so years ago, Sean and I both lived in Columbia, Missouri, and I played in this band called the Doxies, and we were sort of what at the time was called alt country. Now people call it Americana. It'll probably have a different name 6 months from now. I don't know. It was just, one of those bands that kind of blends. In fact, I should take it back. We used to be called cowpunk. Do you remember cowpunk?
Yeah, definitely heard that.
Yeah. So we were kind of like called cowpunk, then we got called alt country. At any rate, we did okay for ourselves. I had songs on the radio and we're touring. And around that same time, Bachman, which is Sean's longtime original rock and roll band, they were getting started too. And so when you live in a town, a small college town, and you're like, 21, 22, 23 years old or somewhere in there, you hang out a whole bunch with the other guys in the other rock and roll band in town. You know what I mean? So, we played shows with Bachman, of course, had great long nights that I don't really remember. And we went on the road, played shows on the road with him and everything. And we just, we were friends. Long story short, for a variety of reasons, the Doxies really ceased to exist. And it really broke my heart. And the way it happened. And I just swore off music. I was just like, I'm done with music. It didn't give me the things I wanted anymore. It made me unhappy and anxious at the end of that, which made me really sad. And I said, I was just like angry at rock and roll, if you can believe that. Yeah. And so I was just like, I'm never going to write a song again. I'm never going to do that again. And then probably about 2.5 years ago, my songwriting buddy in that band, Brent Manis, who sings a little on this record and sings backup, he sent me this songwriting challenge. And he was like, listen, you got to write this song. My uncles are doing it, blah, blah, blah. And he just kind of kept on me about it. And eventually I was like, fine, I'll just sit. I don't even know if I can do this. And then, I just started really working on it. And then I got like super nervous when I sent it out to him, because I was like, I just really don't need to hear that I can't write a song anymore of any value. But he got back to me and he was just like, this is great. This is really, really good. And that felt good. It felt like a little validation. And I felt this sort of thing bubbling up in me again, and just started writing really just for myself, like late at night when my wife, and we have a 5-year-old, when they were asleep, I'd stay up and write for an hour or two and make a little recording for myself and just listen to it in the morning, and just kind of kept going. And eventually got to a point where I was like, oh, wow, I kind of have this little like collection of material. And then I got really nervous again, and I sent it out to a couple of people. And of course I sent it out to Sean, great dude, knows music, really great taste in music, and great taste in writing too. I can like talk about Sean all day long. He's just incredible. And thinking like he's not gonna hate it, But he got back to me and he said, I've known you for a long time. I thought the songs you wrote back in the day were good. These are better. Nice. And I went like, holy, Well,
you can say whatever.
It's I know you're not gonna get a fine, but right. I don't want. I'll keep a G rating for now at least. Sure. We should say too, we're like sitting at the bar at Blue Lotus, and we both have drinks, so who knows what's gonna happen later on. But at any rate, that felt fantastic. And he said, unprompted, he said, when you need a band, you call me. Eventually, I needed a band, so I called him, and got very lucky. He brought in Joe Winsey, who is fantastic. I mean, just one of the best musicians you're ever going to run across. You tell me another drummer who can play that well, and then put down the sticks and go front a freaking Beatles cover band, like one of the best Beatles cover bands you're ever going to see. Yeah. Like, that's talent. And so he comes in, my old buddy from the Doxies, Brian Manis, comes in and plays bass, and it's me. We work up the song super fast, go in to Sawhorse and track really fast, and then just sort of through the grapevine meet Paul Niehaus, whose studio we're sitting in right now, and he comes in, he plays a little bit, then Jason McIntyre, who owns Sawhorse, says, oh, you should call Dave Grelly. I was like, I don't know who Dave Grelly is, because I really haven't been in the scene at all. Right. And Dave Grelly comes in, plays, we become great friends, and then they said, oh, you should get Mark Hochberg. He should come in and do something. Mark Hochberg comes in, plays, we become great friends. And out of that comes Western States on this record. Yeah, man. That's like, I just gave you like a magnum, like it's like a huge opus. Right. People might have tuned out at this point.
So how long did you sit before started writing again? Like how long?
I think it was probably about 10 years.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, well, I was like I said, I was pissed off at rock and roll. Sure. I mean, what kind of a fool thinks like that? But at the time, I was just like, just done.
When you said that, do you like Will Hogue? Do you know him?
Yeah.
Will's one of my absolute favorites.
He's a great songwriter.
But his
new record is good too.
I mean, everything he does is like, I mean, I just, I'm a super fan. Yeah. But obviously, even if it breaks your heart is like what came to mind. Like there's that line to keep on dreaming, even if it breaks your heart. And that's, that's when you were saying that, that's what it came to mind, was that lyric and that kind of mentality. Like, it hurt, and you took a break, but at least you came back and you didn't just give it up and stuff. I know a lot of people they do like this. I mean,
well, I think, there's just some people, and I don't really know. I mean, you could probably sit on somebody's couch and spend thousands of dollars to try and figure it out. And I bet they would come back with, I think that's just how you're built. It's just part of what you do. And I think if it is, then, I mean, or at least it was in my case, where it's just like the moment I stopped trying to sort of like make believe like it's not something I do, right, and sort of set different expectations for it, it like came back, and it feels better this time, actually.
Yeah, man. And then, like I said, you put together, in my opinion, an all-star band. I mean, these are some of the best players around.
Yeah,
town.
They're great. I'll talk about each and every one of them if you want me to.
Yeah. Well, they've all become real good friends of mine, and I would love to talk more about them. Like, I think they're all, like I said, great people and incredible musicians. So
totally.
But you mentioned Sean. Sean's like fun for me because like I started working at Oyster Bar in February of 2016.
Okay.
and kind of known Sean's name a little bit. But I started working Thursdays and Saturdays, and then I discovered what Sean was doing on Wednesdays, and I'm like, I want to work every Wednesday night now. Like, it's like I don't.
Yeah.
So it's I always had a good view of the show and being a part of those.
He's special, you know.
Yeah.
He really is. And I mean, like, the thing about him is that everyone kind of knows him as a great guitar player because that's what they sort of see when you come to a show. Some people know how great of a band leader he is because, you know, putting together that kind of caliber of performance week in and week out, and then all the other stuff he does, it's like, that takes a lot. You have to be a good band leader, and that's its own sort of skill. But like, I don't know that many people, and this is the thing I just love about Sean, I don't think many people like understand like his world outlook.
Yeah.
And just like his sort of positivity and sort of drive, and he's an inspirational guy to be around. I mean, really, if you play music, I mean, he never really takes no for an answer. He never really takes anything that kind of, it just feels like nothing really sets him back. He always just is like, this is what I do and I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a special dude.
Yeah, definitely. And
a good friend too.
Lays down some hot licks on this record.
Yes, he does, man. That guy, he's smoking.
Yep.
Yeah, he's hot.
Yep. There's I can't remember now the title of the song. I'm real bad about just like clicking play and just listening.
Yeah, well, I do that too.
And not going back and looking at that name.
Yeah, me too.
But there was one that I thought was a lot of fun. Like he's doing. I'm pretty sure it's him. It could be. You play electric on the record too, right?
Yeah, I do.
So, but there was like a guitar lick, and then you hear Dave do like the same thing on keys.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are like going back and forth. With that for a little bit there.
Yep.
And I thought that was like, it was a lot of fun too.
So that's the name of that song is I Can Get Down.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, like that song I was convinced was not going to end up on the record because I wasn't happy with, this is just vanity and self-consciousness in writing. I wasn't happy with the lyrics. And so, but then Sean and Joe, just like every time we would see each other, would just like corner me and just be like, that song's going on the record, Tim.
Yeah.
That song's going on the record, Tim. That song's going on the record. You got to put it on. And I'd be like, I don't know. And they'd be like, oh, So eventually I just went back and kind of rewrote the lyrics and rewrote the melody, which is sort of something I'd never really done before this, to go back and just totally rewrite the vocal stuff for a song. And so I went in and redid it, and I'm really happy with it. And interestingly enough, too, this is how good Sean and Joe are, or Sean and Dave. Sorry, Joe's good too, but Sean and Dave in this particular song I'm talking about. So there's that break in that song where there's a call and response thing between Sean and Dave. They were not in the same room at all when that happened. Yeah, and Dave came in way late in the process to lay that down. I was like, well, why don't you just, because originally I thought there would be maybe like a little vocal line there. And, but he was just like, I was just like, let's just go for it. Just let it rip, and it was just like 2 takes and it was like perfect. I was like, shut up, So, yeah.
Sometimes you just like hate that they're that good,
Oh, I know. It's just like, you're just like painful sometimes. You're just like, God, if you're that good, what am I? But no, really, I mean it. And like there was this one point when we were, and I'd love to brag about Dave Grelly too. He's as advertised. He is fantastic. Mm-hmm. He's the real deal. And there was like a time when he was tracking something in the studio, and Jason and I were in the control room, and he does his whatever he's playing, and I'm just like dead silent, and like Jason turns around, he's like, Tim, why don't you give him some feedback? I was like, that was.
It's good.
That was real good. I was like, what do you say?
Right.
I was like, well, you want to do it again just because I like listening to you play?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, let's give them a little taste of
right.
what we got. What you guys been up to? So, you let me pick, and I picked a song called "Fire and Rage." That is the opening up the record, track 1, and just feels good, man. Like just
cool.
like I don't know, like also not to say you sound like all these other people, but like it definitely gave me like and I'm a huge fan of his too, but like a Jason Isbell record vibe, like just like especially more that this particular track's a little more acoustic driven and kind of stripped down and stuff. So
I mean, Shane, we can't keep hanging out if you're going to keep comparing me to fantastic songwriters.
sorry about that.
Yeah. 'cause I
I'll
just
cut
have to
that out
deal
in post. Don't worry. But like, I mean, especially like Southeastern, like that record.
Yeah, that's a great record.
I mean, that one
is really good.
First time I heard that, I was just hooked, man, and like such a amazing album. And but this song kind of I felt like fit into what that record was doing. So
Totally.
Anyway, but you want anything you want to share about Fire and Rage?
I mean, it sounds like it's a really angry song by its title, but it's not. It's really about if you. For me, I wanted to open the album with a track that's really about this idea of, and the lyrics are really abstract, and most of the album is not about abstract lyrics at all, but this particular track has abstract lyrics, because I wanted to get at sort of the concept of like trying to, that when you're faced with trouble, whether it's internal or external, you know, rather than sort of being angry about it, the best way to kind of get through it is to take yourself apart and to ask for help taking yourself apart, so you can kind of get to the root reasons that for whatever trouble you're going through, whatever trouble's on the outside of you, and rather than kind of being reactionary. So, and it's a big theme that runs through, I think, pretty much most of the record.
Yeah, very nice, man.
Abstract mind, concrete heart, swinging at the world, trying to break it apart, stumbling through the wreckage, working through the night, deconstructing darkness, picking at the seams, and pulling out the light. I buried my demons in shallow graves. I'll dig them back up, should I need them someday. Help me pick out all these scars burning in my eyes, crack open my chest, balance my heart on the edge of your night. This is the nature of the war I wage, to carve out a clear path through all this fire and rage, or to carve out a clear path through this fire and rage. Curse these visions wrapped in their chains, howling on the ridgeline, pulling me away. I'm so tired of breaking my back, carrying all this down. Lean on back my head, open my mind, and draw the poison out. This is the nature of the war I wage, to carve out a clear path through all this fire and rage, or to carve out a clear path through this fire and rage, through this fire and rage. Abstract mind, concrete heart, swinging at the world, trying to break it apart.
Yeah, this like I said, it was one of my favorites. I just a real big fan of that, you know, this particular like singer-songwriter type of vibe to it. But
Cool.
But the record offers a lot of different variety and sounds, which I think is also great. That, you know, it's not like you get a little bit of something and everything on this record, and so it's really a lot of fun to listen to. I've listened to it twice a day to get ready for this. So
Cool.
it's,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and but where do you decide on a name like Western States? Where does that come from?
So there's not like the origin story isn't great at all, and it was honestly just one of these things that just kind of like, you know, if you're ever thinking about names, it just something kind of just pops up, and you just kind of go, okay, well that works for now. And when we were rehearsing, like, I hope Joe doesn't get upset with me. He was like, one day we got done, sort of like quickly getting ready to go into record. He's like, well, so this is like a Western States thing. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, start wearing like Western outfits when we go on stage? Like, it's like, you know. But and I thought, well, I'll try and get another name, but I just couldn't find one. And I think the thing about it is that it's sort of, I mean, it's somewhat literal because, you know, at least up until, you know, 100 years ago, this was the West. But to me, like the West, the idea of the West is sort of like wide open and always changing. And the idea of states of being sort of collected in a very specific way around a purpose. And I feel like with this particular group, you know, you never really know where, I've learned this from just my experience, you never really know what's going to happen with lineups. Lineups can change, but I really want to be present with the people who I'm making music with. And they are, even though the opportunities might change, might be shifting, there might be changing and openness to that, but we're still collected in a very specific way around whatever music we're making. And, maybe I just rationalized to myself why Western States is a great name. I don't know, but it certainly feels good when it comes out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and apparently, like the Beatles was taken and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
That was next the one for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It is tricky though. Like, I mean, even naming this show, I ran into like a lot just Googling, like trying to come up with something that
there's only like 700,000 podcasts or something ridiculous. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing with like, it's with naming anything. It's just so difficult to come up with.
I am terrible at it.
Yeah.
I am so bad at it.
But I think Western States is great, man.
Oh, cool.
And,
I got one right.
Yeah. So, but you can get involved. Right now, we do have a Facebook page out there. You can get involved socially there. You can visit westernstatesband.com and head over there to be all the hub for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we do, like I said, the big one we're pushing is the release party on July 20th.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun night.
And we're going to have physicals available that evening. And is that the same day it'll be digitally everywhere? Or?
It'll actually be out on the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been told that the Fridays are when you release albums, technically. Yeah.
Right. Well, very nice. Yeah, but I'm excited for everybody else to give us a listen because, like I said, I've been hooked since I first got to hear it. So I'm sure many others are going to be like me and loving it. So let's give them another one. This song is called Details, and this was recorded live here at Blue Lotus Studios and features Mr. Mark Hochberg on violin or fiddle. Yeah. Which I don't even really know the difference. I'm just sad to say. Is there a proper terminology?
For fiddle or violin?
Yeah. I mean, is there... do you know?
I feel like if it's kind of twangy, it's a fiddle.
All right.
I feel like if I'm wearing a tie, then it's a violin. I don't know. That's my...
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I'd call it fiddle.
Yeah.
We'll call it fiddle.
There we go. But this is Details live, acoustic, unplugged here from Blue Lotus. Anything around Details? I was like... This was one I really liked it a lot too, just the storytelling of it, and and that's a lot of my favorite writing. Yeah, is the fact that this song kind of tells one guy's story throughout the. Yeah, I mean it's a heavy song, but I think that you shouldn't be afraid. And I come from a sort of school of thought that you should never be afraid to write something heavy, and I won't get like on a soapbox or anything, but it's true. I mean, the song's really about sort of how close people can be to sort of sliding completely off the rails. And if you don't look, they're not just details, essentially, that they're, these are real lives. And it kind of centers around this theme of what some people don't really realize, which is this huge increase in evictions in America right now, in rural areas and urban areas too. And
and there's just real cost to it. And I was really influenced by a book called Evicted by Matthew Desmond, came out a couple of years ago. If you're interested in knowing anything about that topic, that's a great book to read. But yeah, it's kind of a heavy song, but I feel like at the end, it's sort of about resilience too. And so, that it's about people really not giving up on themselves and not treating themselves like they're details. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Buddy's my nickname. Come on inside. My new place suits me right. Just enough room for my boys to sleep. Something left over for my baby and me. Something left for my baby and me. We took our hat to lay down first and last. Don't you know I can't complain? The crazy thing is, there's a hole in that wall about the size of a fist. How's that detail get missed? Friends from high school call me cat. Gonna take a break, 3 in my pack. Clearing out apartments is easy cash. I get them ready and they flip them fast. Get them ready and they flip them fast. You wouldn't believe the kind of things I find. Don't you know inspector comes through, checking off his list. One has a hole in the wall about the size of a fist. Now how's that detail get missed? I've been a judge in this county for going on 25 years. Used to see evictions once in a while. Now they're filling up the docket, so many get filed. And if there's just one thing that the law makes clear, I can't tell those folks where to go, but they cannot stay there. John Lee Wilson, my full name, here for the work, fully trained. Classy felony, I can't explain. Busted my back, gave me pills for pain. Busted back, pills for pain. Cops were kicking me out, I swung and I missed. You should know I've been clean now for 12 weeks and 4 days. That's a damn heavy lift. I ain't living my life like a detail that got me.
Do you find yourself writing a lot of that kind of stuff, like, being able to read this book and kind of put yourself in those shoes and tell that story, or do you draw more from personal stuff, or what?
I kind of have a bit of a mix. I mean, I think I do what. So here's what I would say. Like, I do what a lot of writers do: is I write through characters. You know, that's nothing unique about that. But I think the thing that is true of if you're really trying to do a good job at writing songs is that it might not be you literally, but your truth is in all of those characters.
Right.
You know, you are creating these characters to either explore something that's on your mind or work something out. And you know, I certainly I'm cut from that cloth.
Yeah.
You know? Lots of people are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's why I mean, I really enjoy that, like, especially like doing a singer-songwriter showcase and stuff. I love hearing stories, and like sometimes it's nice to hear the real story, but sometimes it's also just nice to come up with your own story,
right?
And then in your head, and like, so I don't know. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it both. I like it's just fun, like I said, the different approaches to writing, and some people are more literal, and some people are you know, fictionalize a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I was living like Jack Kerouac, then I probably would write a lot of personal, like Jack Kerouac in the 50s or something like that. But no, I mean, I think that, you know, that's good writing. I think even if you're writing about yourself, it all comes down to really empathy. You know, it's being able to sort of either better understand yourself and whatever it is that you're experiencing and need to sort of work through, or you know, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And I think that's true if you're writing a heavy song. I think that's also true if you're writing like a party song. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is going to get somebody up? If I want to be up, like, what do I want to do? And so I think, you know, empathy is really at the core of good writing. Yeah. You write much party tunes? I need to write more, Shane. Right. Maybe like we'll start a side project. Yeah, man. Me. Get some club bangers going on. Get some club bangers. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. That'd be that's like a whole separate thing. I never see it coming. Right. Yeah, man. Who are these two guys writing these club bangers? I think we could do it. Shane and Tim. Yep. That's the name of the band right there. Yeah, Shane, it's organic. I don't know. I do. I don't know. I'm a super fan of music and songwriting, especially. And God bless you for that. Well, thanks, sir. But I would love to do something. I would love to get into writing. For me personally, I haven't been able to shut off that part of my brain that's like everybody else's lyrics. So when I go to write, it's just like, you know, every other person's songs that come out of my head. So it's like, it's hard for me to put my original thoughts out there. And that's where I struggle with so far. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think one thing like that's always for me is that sometimes sparks, you know, some writing if I'm stuck. Well, I would say a couple of things. One is for me personally, it's not that writing is always easy. And I think I love this, I forget who said it, but there's this great quote where it's like, amateurs get inspired, professionals go to work when it comes to writers. It's like anybody can sort of get struck by lightning. You can just have an inspirational moment, boom, song. But if like the people who really like care about it and really try and work their craft know that, and this is true at least for me, that the muse likes to find me working. Like I have to like sit down and work at it. And writing sometimes can be inspirational and inspired. And I think that's where sometimes people think about like, there's some kind of like mystical thing that happens and like you're channeling stuff. I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But most writing, I think, for people who really like do it and are good at it, it's work, you know? And I think just like sitting down, like you were saying, like even like, you know, when you sit down to write, you kind of like are sort of going through other people's lyrics. But it's like even just like sitting down and like thinking about like, you know, thinking about writing to me is writing. You know, thinking about like, what is it about this line, even if I'm writing it on the page verbatim, that moves me? And what is it, you know? And that can be part of your process too, in my opinion. Right. Yeah. What was that challenge that your friend sent you to like kind of help? You know, so there's this thing called the Poncho and Lefty Challenge. Okay. That is about the Poncho and Lefty, you know, that great song. Townes Van Zandt. Townes Van Zandt, yeah. And it was write a song about betrayal. And could be set anywhere. but just write a song about betrayal. And I wrote the song about betrayal. Did not end up on this particular album, but yeah, he said I did. He said I disqualified. He felt like I was too far afield from the subject matter, and he disqualified me. But he said it was a great song. So
Yeah.
I took it.
Is that I've heard different stuff like that. The different songwriting challenges and
yeah.
stuff. Like try to write a song a day, or different things. And
Yeah.
I didn't know if you got into other ones besides that, or if that was like the big one to kind of. Obviously, that one helped kind of relight the fire, though.
Yeah, for sure. And I think anything that, like I was saying before, I think, good writing is about working. Or I should say for me it is. For other people, they have a totally different philosophy. And for other kinds of music, maybe it's totally different. I don't know. I'll just speak for myself. For me, good writing is about working. And I fell in love with the work again of just doing it. Not because I had any expectation on it, but I just love the process of it. So I think anything, whether that's like writing a song a day, getting somebody like write a song about X, write a song about whatever, anything that kind of gets you working or anything that would get me working, I should say, is super helpful. I think sometimes a lot of even really famous songwriters write great songs for movies.
Right.
I'm a big Paul Westerberg fan from The Replacements, and he wrote a couple of songs for the Singles soundtrack, and and I'm a big fan. Hadn't written great stuff around that period. I had kind of a tough run after The Replacements broke up. And I think there was maybe there's some truth to that. It's just somebody said, write a song about this, and he could turn off his inner critic and just wrote a song. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I think maybe that's part of my problem too. Not to compare myself to anybody that actually does this, but I think maybe that's my problem is I'm too wide open. It's
your inner critic will I'm gonna just say he will fuck everything up. Constantly, he'll tell you everything you do sucks.
Sure. But if I could narrow it down to a movie or that character or whatever, and something like that, I think that might help me too. For me, it's I'm starting with a wide open desert, and I'm trying to find something, it's
totally.
So maybe that'd be a good approach for me to kind of narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. Yeah. I think just sort of being able to say I'm going to write, and it can be anything generic. Love songs. Write a great love song. It's pretty hard to do actually at this point because there's so many have been written, but it gives you a focus, and it's something that's universal and something we can hopefully all relate to in some way.
Yeah. I did do a little bit I wrote some poetry in high school.
Okay.
None of it was any good.
Were you get a pentameter? Huh? Could you do pentameter where you could understood the stresses and then?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wasn't very good, but that's where a lot of this started. I started writing there. I started, and then I wrote for a school paper for a little bit, writing there. I started doing a blog, and then all that kind of led into starting to talk a lot more and doing this show. So anyway, I haven't really been back to writing in quite a while, but it'd be fun to, I think it would be fun to write some songs, and even if I don't perform them, somebody else perform them or something like that. I think it would be cool.
Yeah. I think, I think it's hard for people, but it's really super important to sort of set your own expectations about what you're trying to get out of it, and not be so concerned. Everyone. The truth is, we are all concerned with what other people think.
Right.
But I think try and put it in some kind of perspective, I think is helpful.
Right. Well, we mentioned party tunes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Fever is not, I wouldn't say, it's not really a club banger, but it's definitely definitely a lot more rock and roll.
The beat does not drop in the middle or something like that.
But this definitely is good. This is going to get people up moving. Though.
Okay.
It's definitely a lot more high energy, and I get just a fun sing along. I feel like that chorus kicks in, and you can't help but to start singing along by the end of the song and stuff. So this is Fever, and appears as track 10 on Western States, From the Center Out.
still buzzing from last night's show, burning up my mid-highs, real sure and slow. You whispered something soft in my ear, and all those frequencies cut clean and clear. Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins. Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins. Years when I burned like the thin blue flame, spilling all my blood on empty page. Terrible thoughts clouded my mind. In all that darkness, what did I find? Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins. Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins. Who am I now? Where did you go? I disappeared inside of another man's clothes. Last night I dreamed I was alone in the bay, floating through darkness and empty space, and the tide that pulled me out started pulling back in. Start pulling back in. Oh, something's pulling into my line. A little boy laughing, you by my side. It's taking it a while, so go skip some racks. I'm wrestling with this one, all that I got. Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins. Nothing in this world gonna break the fever you put in my veins.
Anything we need to add around fever?
Let's see. You know, I was saying earlier that there was that that moment in the studio where I was like, Dave Grelly was playing something, and he asked Jason McIntyre asked for feedback. I think it was actually the close. I think it was the closing little bits on this where he just like lets it fly.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's talk about Jason. We haven't really kind of gotten that experience
Sure.
yet. We a little bit, but I'm a huge fan of Jason.
He's a cool dude.
Like
he's real good.
He's been on this show with Preston. We did a kind of talking more about the engineering side of things.
Oh, cool.
And but I'm a huge fan of his work, and there's tons of records coming out of that studio that I'm a giant fan of. Mm-hmm. And but what was that experience like working with Jason?
You know, just like with Sean, just like with Dave, just like with Mark, just like with Joe, just like with my longtime friend Brian, just like with Paul. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, he's as advertised.
All right.
He's fantastic.
And he does like everything like on that big old analog board or whatever and all that. Like,
oh yeah, I mean he's got, so that's Falco's old board, if you remember Falco. I asked him to tell me that story like 3 times, and if he's listening to this, I don't think he probably will be, but if he's listening to this at this moment, he'll probably just be like, Tim, shut up about that being Falco's board. I just was like super fascinated that like Rock Me Amadeus was mixed on that board.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that part. But,
Yeah.
But big fan of his work, and shout out to Sawhorse Studios. And imagine, like, for me, like, even as a fan, I walked in there to record with Jason, and like it's just super relaxing over there, and like I imagine that helps. And as you as an artist to kind of come in and you're just relaxed and kind of do what you got to do and stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was pretty. I think he was great. I think I was really wound tight, to be honest with you. Everyone was really relaxed. Everyone had a good time except for me, who was just like in the back of my mind thinking like, it's been so long since I've done this, and what if it sucks? And oh my, we were talking about inner critic. Like I had that dude was just like, he's screaming at me the whole time. I was just kind of like, I was like, get Tim a drink, you know? But no, I really, he's really, really good at what he does. And, I think he knows that, being a good engineer is also sort of about being like just a really good hang and really good with people. And he would never say that like he had any hand in producing this record, but the fact of the matter is he and I, when we were mixing together, I mean, he was great. I mean, just to have that kind of a mind in the room to work with, you can't put a price tag on that, I mean, he's just really great and a wonderful dude, incredibly funny, really witty, and he's great.
Do you recall any moments in studio where he maybe changed a song around a little bit? And
I have to think about that. I mean, there's a when do you think this is going to drop? You have any idea?
Probably a week or so.
Okay, so we're going to have a song that'll come out before the full record does, called The Duke.
Yeah.
And I love that particular recording because that is all live, like including the vocal, which is a little unusual in this day and age when you can just like go back and just like re-record vocals 1,000 times. But the moment that like I really... when you feel like an engineer is on your side, like for real on your side, that is an incredibly like liberating moment if you're a musician of any kind in a recording studio. And I had gone into retrack the vocal for that because I was just programmed in my brain like that's what you do. You never trust a scratch vocal. And he was like, no. He's like you cannot beat that. And he was right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I could have done it better, I think, from a technical standpoint. I think I pushed a little hard in that, but there's an energy in it, and that's when like an engineer is like really on your side, has made a lot of rock and roll records, and they can kind of say things like that to you and say it with a certain kind of authority and clarity, right, that makes you believe it and makes your record better. And that is something that is like that's what's really special. Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. That's very cool. I love that kind of behind the scenes stories and stuff. Oh, like yeah. Well, there's more of them, but I'm not going to tell them all. Right. No, you're pretty tame.
Nice. And also I was kind of wondering, like, too, as you as a songwriter, did you kind of like pitch these songs to the band as like from just, are you writing them on just an acoustic and you had an idea, or did the guys really get to develop these songs with you?
I didn't bring them to anybody until I had about 12 demos.
Yeah.
I figured 12 was a good number. Because if it would tanked, and they're like, I only like 6 of them, then I could probably write 4 more and get to a record. Or if they liked them all, great. Then you got 12 songs. Yeah. So and there's a couple of songs that did not, or there's one song in particular that didn't end up on this record that we'll put out as a single later this year. But fortunately, I really worked hard on self-editing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's, and people were willing to take the ride with me. I think obviously, everyone had different songs that they liked more than others because that's just the truth. Right. But, fortunately everybody was great. Yeah. Yeah. I just made like little demos at night in GarageBand. Right on. That was my engineering experience. Yeah. It's GarageBand. Turn up the compression to make your mic sound better. That's my trick. That's my only trick. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Again, all this available July 20th, off Broadway. Again, Western States Funky Butt Brass Band and Cree Rider Band.
Yeah.
And then tickets available at offbroadwaystl.com. So grab tickets and join us out there. While I got you here, I wanted to also kind of just get to know a little bit more about just Tim. We mentioned podcasting, and do you listen to a lot of podcasts? Are you a fan, or are you?
Yeah, I like podcasts.
Yeah. Is there any particular ones you like to listen to?
Well, since we're talking about music, I like. Have you heard Chris Shiflett's Walking the Floor?
No. Unfortunately, I don't listen to a lot.
You're
of
making
music
them.
Well, that too. I listen to a lot of comedy ones, but I don't listen to very many music-related podcasts.
Yeah.
So I need to go try to deep dive into some more of that.
He's got a cool one that's sort of, if you're into like the kind of music that we make in Western States and that kind of just like the general singer-songwriter kind of stuff. Chris Shiflett's Walking the Floor is just like a good interview show. I got into fiction podcasts a little bit. I got deep into this show called Limetown. That's really good. Bronzeville, which is another fiction podcast, super cool, really good. And I like, there's this one show that I've been listening to called Crime Town. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Great show. Just about like, it's not like true crime. It's like more about like sort of like how like organized crime and how organized crime kind of works in America. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And what else have I been listening to? Oh, there's just the really good country one, Cocaine and Rhinestones. Have you heard that? Have you heard about that?
Maybe I heard the name.
It's great. It's just like the crazy stories behind country music.
Who's a part of that? There's some like.
Oh, I forget the host name, but
I think there's somebody like.
It's somebody famous.
He's like it's
like the son of somebody famous.
Right.
Yeah, I forget. I can't remember his name.
Because I remember now as you say that, like somebody told me about that, and you go take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, I listened. I listen to the stuff that other people listen to. I I listen to like Pod Save America. I listen to stuff like that. And I don't really do the comedy podcast. My wife does them, and just like almost every other day, she's coming home and she's like, "Have you listened to Dak Shepard's latest?" Just like loves Dak Shepard's podcast. And she swears by Conan O'Brien's podcast too. Have you listened to that?
I haven't listened to. I'm a huge Conan fan.
Yeah, what comedy shows?
So I listened to. The one that really kind of got me like going on this was the Crab Feast with Jay Larson and Ryan Sickler. It's no longer in existence, but they both do their own shows now, separate. Which is the Honeydew podcast with Ryan Sickler, and Jay's got the Through Line. And so they're both still busy doing other stuff. They just don't do the show together anymore.
Sure.
But there's also About Last Night with Adam Ray and Brad Williams. And what's been really cool is I actually got to meet Ryan and Jay and kind of share my story with them when I saw them live, and that was really neat. And then that's
really cool.
And then since then, also Adam Ray and Brad Williams have both been on this show.
Oh wow!
So for me, it was really neat to kind of meet some of the guys that helped inspire me to want to do this, and like
awesome,
and kind of
congratulations.
So thanks, man. Yeah, that's
really cool.
It was really
the whole comedy podcast thing is its own like universe.
Yeah,
it's like huge, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty big.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like most of their format, those two formats are like two comedians talking to a third comedian.
Yeah,
and it just makes me laugh, like hearing all those stories, and like it's just a good time.
Yeah.
But so I do. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, but it's nice to put on a podcast and kind of relax. And
what do you listen to them on? What's your app?
Most of through Spotify right now. And since
you like it? You like the Spotify thing? Yeah.
Since they adapted podcasting and made it a lot simpler to have it all on one app and stuff. So
I use Overcast.
Okay.
And Apple too, because I'm just lazy. It's right there.
Right. I mean, that's where it was. I have a Spotify subscription, so it's nice that everything's all in one spot now. Right. But I mean, that's why I tell people that there's literally like hundreds of ways to listen to this show. So
it's true though. Right. Yeah, totally.
But that's exciting though. So I know you mentioned your son. He's what, 5?
He's 5
now.
Lewis.
Is he kind of getting into this at all, or?
He likes it. I mean, he his favorite thing to do Well, actually, he likes guitar stuff, but he really likes drums.
Yeah.
So, like, he thinks Joe is like Joe Lindsay is like the coolest dude ever.
Right.
But no, his big thing is actually he's super into baseball. He's been like that since he was one, and just like loves baseball. It's like the one thing that has stuck around. Like he like went through like a guitar thing where he wanted to like play all dad's guitars, and then like he like went through like a huge monster truck thing. Like, by the way, until I had a kid, I had no idea like how far monster trucks have come since I was a kid.
Right.
I mean, the Monster Jam thing is ridiculous. It is awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. Anyways, he went through a Monster Jam phase, and that kind of passed. And then he went through like, he went through a Star Wars phase. He went through a Ghostbusters phase, like hardcore into Ghostbusters. But the one thing that's been consistent is not really like, he doesn't really get the music thing's kind of cool to him, but it's baseball. He's like a baseball guy.
Well, isn't that cool though? Like you get to like all that stuff's still around. Like we were into, we did Star Wars and Ghostbusters when we were kids, and it's still a thing. Still,
yep.
Ninja Turtles is still a thing, and all that.
Ninja Turtles is totally still a thing.
Right. I mean, all of them were like they kind of some of them take a break for a bit, but come right back and stuff. Like a new wave of it. Transformers. I mean, everything. It's all still huge.
Yeah. It's like all the same. It's exactly the same, except I'll tell you what the real difference is. My son and kids today will have like no concept of like you had to like wait to watch a show.
Yeah,
it's like they just like it feels like I'm happy for them, but there's like a one part of me that's just like, you guys are cheating.
Yeah, they're
just like cheating.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like wait for it.
Yeah,
like
Saturday mornings, man.
Yeah, Saturday mornings, or at least have a commercial.
Right.
At least have to watch a commercial.
Now everything's on Netflix. They can just watch the entire series.
Yeah. Just like progress.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does make me laugh too. Like that whole concept too. Like technology changing, like especially with the cameras and pictures and people like, I hear kids all the time, like as soon as I take a picture, I want to see it, it's like,
yeah.
And like,
you used to have to wait a week.
Yeah. Right.
Even then.
Right. So it's just funny how fast, like, I mean, they have like literally no idea like what we went through and growing up, and now it's like everything's just instant everywhere.
Right.
And they still are impatient for it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like it's a trip though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, that's cool. So, are you going to try to gear him towards drums or something? You think he's going to?
I'm going to let him do him.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's the best thing. That's just sort of my personal philosophy.
Sure.
Like, I think people who like, I think just, and this is just my opinion, and not that I'm some kind of parenting expert of any variety,
right.
But I just feel like if you push kids to be like you're just, something bad's gonna happen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that. I'm just, but like if he's shows interest in it, I would like.
Oh
hey,
yeah. Well, like I told him, he was like, I take him to guitar stores. He's like, Dad, I want that guitar, and it's like, I'm like, you have the coolest freaking guitars. Like, I'm like, I would have loved to have had guitars like that when I was a kid, but.
Well,
if he wants a guitar, dude, we're gonna go buy some guitars. That's an easy sell for me. Easy sell.
Yeah. What was your first guitar?
So my very first guitar, my dad took me to a guitar show, which I don't know if they still have guitar shows anymore. But at any rate, it was just a place where you could just like buy used guitars, like a pop-up kind of thing, and bought a Fender Stratocaster. I was 13, yeah. And I was convinced. I was like, this is a real Fender, like the real like American Fender Stratocaster. And took it into a guitar shop, Dave's Guitars. And I grew up sort of very far north of Kansas City, but Dave's Guitars was like the one spot that you could get to kind of close to my home, and took it in, and the guys there were just like great dudes. And there's like the classic, like when, people smoked inside, it was just like, just like chain smoking, working on guitars, that whole vibe.
Right.
And he goes, here's the kid. I hate to break it to you. That ain't a real Fender. That's not a real Stratocaster. The guy who sold it to me, his name was Chick. And
been
Chick.
looking for him ever since.
Yeah, I've been looking for Chick ever since. No, really, that is true though. His name was really Chick, and they were just like, "Oh, did you buy that from Chick?" Apparently, Chick had a reputation of selling, not the real thing. So that was like a great rock and roll lesson, you know. Like, does authenticity matter? Yeah, kind of. But also, like, if you feel like it's a Strat and you're having fun with it, call it a Stratocaster.
Yeah. And now you can just Google everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're taking all the fun out of that too.
Right.
You can't even get ripped off like you used to. Like, I can't. Now I can look up a serial number and know if you're a fake or not. Yeah.
Did Dad play, or was he? Or
No, not a musical family at all.
Yeah.
Like, really not. Yeah. Not musical. But had pretty good taste in music though. Like, and it was pretty diverse. You know, he, like, we would like it was just like we would listen to like John Mellencamp's like Lonesome Jubilee, which to me is still a great record. Like, sonically, that is a really cool record. So we listened to like Lonesome Jubilee, and then he would like put in like the soundtrack to Cats or something.
Yeah.
So it was all kinds of storytelling songs happening.
There you
know.
go.
So yeah, but not musical. Like, didn't play anything. Just, you know.
Yeah.
Wide enough, I guess. You know, taste.
I've shared the story on here a bunch, but my dad played a little bit. Like,
oh, cool.
Just kind of dabbled, you know, on us.
What was that like watching your dad play?
It was cool. I mean, like, we had like a little family band thing we joked about a lot. Like, it was more like, you know, Saturday, Sunday, we kind of hang out and he would start playing. He did a little bit of electric guitar and a little bit of piano. It was mostly with like most successful with harmonica.
Oh, wow.
He would sit in.
That's a kind of a tough instrument, actually. Yeah.
He would sit in with different blues bands or bluegrass and kind of different things, and he would just never really had a full time band, but he would just kind of show up with his harmonicas and jam and stuff. But I can recall like days where me and my brother were hanging out, and we'd start. I remember obviously distinct memories of Ozark Mountain Daredevils. It was, you know, I've been standing on the rock, just waiting for my seeds to grow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man.
So we would start singing that, and like we kept, like I said, we had a family band going, and nothing ever happened of it, but it was fun.
Can you believe that? I mean, like, you hear that song and you think like that same band had Jackie Blue.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was all over.
God. Incredible, kind of.
If you want to get to heaven, and
I mean, it's just like, wow. And Soup Grande is he still kind of kicks around St. Louis a little bit, I think, from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, I know Daredevil still do shows.
Yeah, still do shows. Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's just that was good music though, for sure. That's a lot of that's like 70s rock. Dad played a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of like.
It's good. It's healthy for you. Makes you grow big and strong.
Yeah,
Listen to 70s rock.
Right.
It's like calcium.
We when he was also big into like country stuff, like a lot of Conway Twitty. I recall. Mom kind of got into more bluesy stuff with Clapton and things, and so I mean there was a lot of variety in music and played around the house, and but a lot of Skinner and a lot of ZZ Top and Allman Brothers and all that.
Like all like sort of like the black T-shirt stadium rock era. I love that. Oh man, I love it. Yeah.
We you know,
like 38 Special. Why does nobody talk about 38 Special?
I don't know. They should.
That's 38 Special's. Man.
Yeah.
If you want to slam some beers and turn it up loud, 38 Special.
There you go.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Saturday night to me.
That sounds like a great Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of that stuff that people kind of, you know, it's kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit. People kind of forgot about, but there's a lot of really great music on that in that era, and like I still try to keep it alive, keep discussing, or keep trying to pull up some old records that I've kind of forgot about and stuff, and that's a lot of fun for me, especially now, like especially with Spotify having like everything at your fingertips. I know it's not the best for artists, but it is really nice as a consumer to a fan. You can have everything right there.
Yeah, I go back and forth on whether it's a step forward or a step back, and it's really kind of both. Sure. I mean, the money is just, it's depressing, really, when you think about like what rate you get based on a play. But, at the same time, it's like people can, it's so much easier to distribute your music.
Right. I mean, yeah.
It's just incredible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, even not that long ago, it was a big deal to get a physical distribution deal, like a really big deal. And now it's completely irrelevant. Mm-hmm. I mean, not completely, but you know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't really, that's not the thing that's going to make or break you.
Right.
And, anybody can distribute all over the place. But I mean, the thing to kind of watch in my mind is how Apple Music or how Spotify locks things off and makes it really hard for people to find. It makes it, the people who are on the labels get like sort of all the benefits of being in sort of the premium spots when people open up the app or click on a stream and get discovered much more easily than like, even though technically they're on the same playing field, they're not getting the same placement.
Yeah.
And that to me is the real. I mean, the money thing is always a problem, but it's like artists have always been ripped off in the music business. But, burying the new music from independent artists is the scary thing to me.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you guys wanting to do with Western States after this record release? You think you're going to...
Well, we're going to kick around. Yeah, we're going to play some shows. And, I'm definitely going to be out... I'm going to go and do some road shows, just kind of solo stuff, and with these songs and acoustic shows, and but yeah, I think the plan is to keep playing some shows. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like the biggest thing is like, you're not going to make a ton of money off Spotify or any of that stuff, but it helps get your name out there, and when you do go to their town, they can. Yeah. They can come out to a live show and stuff. And like, that's the biggest thing is just getting that exposure out there that way and stuff. Yeah. If people see your name on a poster and they can easily pull up what you sound like and stuff. And
I think you're totally right. So I think making a recording that you feel very proud of will pay off in a lot of different ways for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, hopefully, see Tim in Western States coming to a town near you shortly.
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of solo acoustic shows, then, we do have another one I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I've invited Tim out to be a part of my singer-songwriter storytelling showcase at Naked Vine on August 13th. Mm-hmm. And you'll be out there with my good friends, Brothers Reed, coming in from Portland, Oregon. Yeah. So it's going to be a really special night.
Dude, it's going to be great.
Yeah, but I'm excited because, people are going to be able to come to the show July 20th and see the band, and then kind of get to see a stripped-down version of all these songs that they just heard. And obviously, I bought the record and listening to it on repeat until August 13th. And then come and see you play them live acoustic and get a whole different side of what you do and stuff. So
I think it's great, man. I really, I applaud you for, just like really trying to give people an opportunity to sort of put their songwriting, front and center, which is, that's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
that's what this whole thing runs on, really.
I'm just a real super fan of this format, and I've seen it done, just not with my friends. And so I wanted to do my own thing, and and people are responding in a big way. I mean, we're drawing good crowds on a Tuesday night, which is crazy to think about. But people are coming out and enjoying it, and also been putting it all up as a podcast and YouTube and stuff. So those are also getting attention. So it's been really fun, and we just we've done it a year now, and I've got no plans of slowing down. So I'm excited to see what else I can do. I'm excited. Brothers Reed is my first national.
Is that right?
National act coming in.
Oh man, I'm so honored to be on that show.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be.
That's really cool.
Wait till you see.
Congratulations.
Wait till you see these guys.
I've listened to the record. They're good.
They're good. Yeah.
They're good, man. They got some good songs.
And the harmonies, crazy. Yeah. So,
how do you know them?
Well, I think they're originally from the area. We got connected through a mutual friend, and I first met them. They came through town for a gig, and they come home every now and then for some family stuff, and so we got to hang out. They've done the show twice, and they were coming this way again, and I said, "Hey, come! You guys want to do my show?" And
there you go.
And they did it. So it's going to be a cool night. I'm excited, like I said, to get to see them doing their thing. So
cool.
It's going to be a cool one. So yeah, get involved. We do that at Naked Vine every second Tuesday. If you're into singer-songwriter storytelling stuff, that's what we do out there. So, but Tim, this has been awesome, man. I really thank you for doing this.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Taking some time to hang. Thank you again to Paul Niehaus for all his love and support for this show and for letting us hang out here and playing on this record and just being an awesome guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the best.
Yeah.
And, but again, July 20th off Broadway. I'll say it 100 times. I don't care. But come out to see Western States live with Funky Butt Brass Band and Cree Rider Band. And tickets are available right now. OffBroadwaySTL.com. Head over there, snag some tickets. And keep an eye out for that lead single, The Duke, coming soon to coming soon to a music
to a phone in your pocket,
right?
Because that's how music works now.
Right. Well, all right, buddy.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I will see you very soon, my friend.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate everything.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.